Here in Tucson, the Arizona Sandcats are back from a spring break layoff and set for a doubleheader at Bear Down Beach. It is an 80-degree Friday afternoon in the desert. We welcome you to the University of Arizona and our first stop this year in Tucson for Pac-12 beach volleyball. Top 10 Arizona ready for a doubleheader against CSU Bakersfield, the Roadrunners, and then later today, the University of New Mexico. The national top 10 is well represented by Pac-12 programs. USC currently in the 3 spot, UCLA right behind them at 4th, and Arizona checks in this week at number 7. And with two-time Olympian Dane Blanton, I am JB Long. Welcome to this gorgeous facility here at Arizona. How impressed are you that in year 3 of beach volleyball, the Wildcats are a national force?
Well, you know, I kind of expected this because Steve Walker in his 3rd year here has really put together a strong program. He's put together a tradition, and these players really believe that they belong. They have a 5-1 record, and they're expecting to make it to the national championships.
From a team level, the top pairing on court number 1 has already been there. The Witt sisters, McKenna and Madison, are really impressive.
Yeah, they really are. McKenna and Madison, great players indoor in high school. Now they are the face of the program here at Arizona. And they're just such classy individuals, and they're leaders. Everyone on their team respects them, and they're really bringing this program to another level.
They are anxious to get back on the sand. They've had a week off after their first loss of the year. That was at UCLA, ready to get back to their winning ways against the Roadrunners of Bakersfield next.
You're watching Pac-12 Arizona, home of the Wildcats. You're watching Pac-12 Arizona.
Back in Tucson at the University of Arizona for Pac-12 beach volleyball, the Roadrunners and the Sandcats from Bear Down Beach. As Pac-12 beach volleyball returns on the network to Tucson. First flight underway. Courts 1 and 2 featuring pairings 4 and 5. Sarah Pantovich and Mia Mason, a couple of fantastic freshmen, lined up and ready to go for the Arizona Wildcats after a week off for spring break and another to train and regain their sand legs. Here we go. They're facing Sophie Flemione and Courtney Freeland for CSUB. They're 0-2 on the season as a pairing.
It's so important to jump out early in these first 2 matches when 4 versus 5. You want to put a lot of pressure on the other squad by at least taking one of these.
Deep middle, Sarah Pantovich missing, so it's 2-0 Bakersfield. And to your point, Dane, here's the format. Best of 5 matches gets the duel. First flight features pairs 4 and 5, and then later on this afternoon we'll see 1, 2, and 3. First 2 sets go to 21 if a third is necessary. Play to 15, win by 2, and what a fantastic start for the team of Flemione and Freeland.
You mentioned going 3 sets. It seems like it happens so often because there's so much parity out here when you have your teams ranked 1 through 5. And so a lot of times you get into that tiebreaker 3rd set, and it can go either way.
Freshman tandem for Arizona needs a side out here. And that'll get out of play. Good swing by Sarah Pantovich, a freshman from Serbia by way of Canada. Coaching staff had to work really hard for her in recruiting. Steve Walker telling me this week he flew to Canada, took a 90-minute ferry ride to see her play on Vancouver Island and convince her to continue her career here in Tucson.
Yeah, Pantovich and Mason have a 5-1 record on the season. A strong duo, a really tall squad at 6 foot and 5'11" respectively. They put up a nice block. Sometimes very difficult to deal with.
I think they're calibrating with the wind gusting here, just how hard they can take their swing. We mentioned it's warm, it's 80 degrees, but just in the last 15 minutes or so, it has become windier.
And that's what tends to happen in a lot of places. In the afternoon, the winds start to pick up. So it's so important to have that ball control, especially at this 4 and 5 spot. There's that block that I told you about.
Gives Mason a chance, and she terminates. And the Wildcats are back within 1 on the first change.
Yeah, it seems like the Wildcats starting to get their groove. And you can see how dominant they can be at the net if they line it up right. Expect them to really control the net. It's going to be up to Bakersfield to have that ball control in the backcourt.
Mia Mason, whose birthday is right around the corner, coming up on April the 2nd, will serve after the switch. A fortunate result there for Arizona, and they're tied at 4.
Yeah, Mason got a little bit lucky there. She dug that ball, but it goes over the Bakersfield side. They are caught completely off guard, and they give away a good opportunity.
Daughter of Harvey Mason and Janine, who played basketball and volleyball respectively here at Arizona in their day. Over on 2, so give the Roadrunners a chance. Flemion stuffed by Sarah Pantovich.
Pantovich up at the net, really big right there. Anything close to the net, you're going to be in trouble with Pantovich up there. Check her out right here. Gets up, presses over into the other court, just nowhere to go for Bakersfield that time.
So after falling behind 3-0, Pantovich and Mason have their first lead. Deep on the serve. The chemistry between these two is described as fantastic. The freshmen have taken to each other as a pairing. You like to have that in your first wave.
And it's pretty impressive that at 5'11" and 6 foot, they're both freshmen. They are going to get so good as the years go on. But both teams right now struggling a little bit on keeping the ball in bounds. Like you said, the wind's starting to swirl a little bit. Doesn't really feel like a good side, bad side. It's more of a swirl going both ways. But you have to be very careful to keep that ball in bounds. That's the only way you're going to score points.
Pantovich falls off, and that catches the line. Good roll shot there by Sophie Flemion. Courtney Freeland, a senior and junior respectively.
Really nice shot here. Comes in inside out and goes right on the line. Remember, if any part of the ball hits that line, it's ruled inbounds.
Everything but the execution there for Mason. It was set up well.
Yeah, Mia Mason came in with a full head of steam, trying to just blast that ball to the deep corner. She ran out of court. You're going to have to be careful, maybe tone it down a bit, make sure that ball ends up inbounds.
Pantovich just missed.
Oh, wow, that looked close right there. Just out of bounds. Would have been an excellent cut shot, but was not to be, so Bakersfield scoring yet another point.
See Steve Walker there in the backdrop talking with his 4 pairing. His Arizona squad is 5-1 on the season. Their only loss came in their most recent outing more than a week ago now at UCLA. Block falls off. Flemion again met at the net by Sarah Pantovich.
I really like what I see from Bakersfield. Flemion deep floats, it gets Arizona in trouble, but then when they have the opportunity, they're setting the ball just too tight to the net, and you cannot do that when on the other side of the net is 6 foot and 5'11". You got to set the ball at least 2 to 3 feet off so that the blockers are taken out of play.
Unfortunately for them, Pantovich clipped the net. So Bakersfield got the point. Now 9-7 on the side out, and a good look at Mia Mason, who was here last summer training with the indoor program and made the move outside. Plan is after this season to discuss where her future is best served. Either splitting time indoor and on the sand, or committing to beach volleyball full time.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. You're seeing this trend at the high school level even, where these girls that have played indoor club for so long, now with this beach opportunity opening up for them and knowing that they could get a scholarship going that route, you're seeing these athletes make a decision, either indoor or beach. Of course, some are doing the combination, but a lot of them are really loving this beach opportunity and the environment of being outside and playing with just 2 on the court.
Nice up by Arizona to keep the point alive. What a scramble point of this pair 4 match so far. It goes to the Roadrunners.
Well, that was an awesome rally, going back and forth, keeping it alive, both sides of the net. But as the rally goes on, I'm going to give the advantage to Bakersfield because it seems like they have a little more ball control. It's interesting. This is the ball control on one side against a very tall unit on the Arizona side.
Cats go over on 2. That'll give Flemion another chance. Well-located roll shot cross court, and their lead swells to 3.
Fleming seeing the court so well right there. Saw that the defender was down in the line, decided to go to the open court, cross court. A 3-point lead that seems to be slowly getting a little bit bigger.
And Coach Walker's concern was whether that layoff would result in rust or rest for his side, and maybe a little bit of rust so far here in court number 1.
Yeah, it's interesting to be 5-0 and then you lose to UCLA, which was an amazing matchup, and then you have so much time off. Usually when you have a loss, you want to get on the court immediately to erase that feeling. So it's been a bit of a layoff for Arizona.
Pantovic continues to be a force at the net. She'll take a swing here, trying to split the Roadrunners. Free ball to the Wildcats. What a block. Courtney Freeland and Sophie Flemion are challenging this pair 4 on court number 1. We'll step aside here on Bear Down Beach.
Twelve University
is someone to watch it go.
On the Arizona Beach volleyball courts, the first of 2 today on the Pac-12 network, the Roadrunners of CSU Bakersfield and number 7 Arizona first up. And the Roadrunners challenging the Bear Downs on court number 1, pair 4. We'll resume with Courtney Freeland set to serve. She and her partner Sophie Flemion out to a 12-9 lead on Mia Mason and Sarah Pantovic. Not too much at the net from the freshman from Serbia, 6' Sarah Pantovic.
Pantovic continues to put up a big block. I'm surprised that Bakersfield's still setting the ball close enough for Pantovic to come into play. It seems like Bakersfield has really good ball control, but they can't continue to challenge at the net. Set that ball off, give yourself room, and just, hit the angles.
They have led Arizona all the way so far on this court, and again, Pantovic denying that roll shot attempt from Flemion.
What was great about Pantovic's block right there is she timed it. She saw that it was going to be a shot by Sophie Flemion. She waited, delayed her block, and then got up and just threw it to the backcourt.
Get a look at pair 5 over on court 2, where the combination of Haley Devlin and Mackenzie Calispes has led all the way, closing in on a first set victory, 17-8. They lead Katie Dunbar-Lowe and Amanda Shoney. Pantovic and Mason back level at 12 apiece here on court number 1. And Flemion gets the well-placed side out.
You can see the strategy for Arizona. They continue to go to Sophie Flemion, and she is kind of slicing and dicing, trying to get that ball over the block, a bit outsized at the net, but she has some great shots and have been very successful so far.
They serve Mia Mason. What a great dig, but Roadrunners unable to do anything with the fantastic effort from Flemion. Tied again, this time at 13.
Sarah Pantovic, full-time blocker. She's getting her calls from her partner Mia Mason. Will run up to the net. Great serve right there, putting Flemion in a little bit of trouble.
And now she delivers the block as well. Start to finish, all Sarah Pantovic.
Yeah, that was really a great combination play by her. She just blasts the ball, nice flat float serve right down Fleming's line, and that's going to force Bakersfield to call a timeout. So Arizona's starting to really kind of get into their groove right now and do the things that they really want to make happen.
Saw Olivia Simcoe in her third season with the Roadrunners. All of her players are indoor players, just 3 returners on her side. And we'll jump on over to court number 2 and discuss the number 5 duo for the first time. Haley Devlin, Mackenzie Gillespie for Arizona. And that's Devlin denied at the net by Katie Dunbar-Lowe, a junior from Fresno. Her teammate Amanda Shoney in the 5 duo for Bakersfield.
Arizona really strong in this number 5 spot. Up by 6.
No one. They're getting, no, come on.
Really nice drop dig for Bakersfield. Katie Dunbar going back, dropping. It's really risky to drop when you have a good set that's decently close to the net, but a good decision. That's half the battle when you're a blocker, deciding whether to stay at the net or get off.
Also got a favorable roll off the tape as well to get the Roadrunners points. Now Shoney met the block of Haley Devlin, a 6'2" sophomore from Tacoma, Washington. Gillespie is a senior from Pennsylvania by way of James Madison, where she played outside hitter and libero with the indoor program. Easy dig for Gillespie, and now she gets the kill off the block.
Arizona really having their way right now at that 5 spot, getting that victory. And that's very important. When you win the first set, it gives you a little more comfort going into that second set, which is so important, especially at the beginning of a duel.
The good news is you haven't missed much here on court number 1 following the timeout. It's 15-14 Roadrunners. Team of Flemion and Freeland leading Mason and Pantovic and serving. Flemion again, the diving dig, and it leads to a Bakersfield point.
That was pretty incredible, that little back flipper. Courtney Freeland just pokes the ball. It's got backspin on it. I don't know how it made it over the net, but completely catching Arizona off guard. Point for Bakersfield.
How are these Roadrunners on court number 1 winless as a tandem? They look dynamic. A side out for Mia Mason, a freshman from Manhattan Beach.
Yeah, it's pretty surprising because they are dynamic. They have good ball control, and at this level, that's exactly what you're looking for. The only flaw in their game, I believe, is putting that ball a little too tight when they're facing a strong blocker. They are beautiful. Short serve. Mia Mason catching Fleming off guard. Fleming's getting a lot of work today. That is where Arizona is going almost exclusively to her and trying to score some points.
Chance for the Cats to take their first lead. Another wicked service. And they're in front, 17-16. Opportunity for Arizona to really take the wind out of Bakersfield's sails on court number 1 after they led for most of this opening set. A race to 21. So there's that set, a bit more off the net as you've been calling for, Dan.
Yeah, I like that off the net. Fleming can see the court really well, and she can go wherever she wants. If it's tight, it brings the blocker into play. That one may be a little bit too far off, but I'll take it because Arizona hasn't been able to stop that when the set is off the net.
Pantovic gets a swing here, side out and the lead back to Arizona. So on the change, 18-17. Sarah Pantovic and Mia Mason, the 4-team for the Wildcats.
When you get to this point, about 16, 17 points, a lot of good teams, if they want to get to that next level, they really learn to close and get to 21. Sometimes a team will get to, say, 17, 18 and think that they have it won and then take the the foot off the gas. You have to push through to 21 points right there, and that's a bit of an error by Arizona, missing that ball. You want to make Bakersfield handle it, especially in that situation when you're up by 1 and closing in on the end of the set.
Freeland serving Pantovic. Over on the set there, and nothing that Arizona could do with it. The Roadrunners retake the lead in this 4 pairing.
Yeah, Mason tries to push the ball up, give her partner an opportunity, but the ball ends up going over the net to the Bakersfield side, and a very smart shot by Freeland. Yeah, that ball just never cleared the net. The 6-foot Sarah Pantovic goes up, tries to bury the ball, never touches the net, comes down on the Arizona side, and now Bakersfield in control of this first set. I mean, they control their destiny, just 1 point away.
We'll take a look at the Arizona season to date. We mentioned their 5-1 record. Most recently lost 3-2 against top 4 UCLA. A road trip to Southern California.
What a great way to start the season for the Wildcats. Finally, you know, they've challenged some teams. They took down Cal, they took down Loyola, and then almost took down UCLA. So really having a good year so far.
See their year-by-year record, got 16 victories. Already 5 registered this season. Mesa, TCU, Cal, LMU, as you said, and Concordia, their victories so far. Opportunity to pick up 2 more today in this doubleheader against the Roadrunners, and then the Lobos of New Mexico, also on Pac-12 Network later this afternoon. On court number 1, this 4-team of Pantovic and Mason will try to fight off set point number 1 for Flemion and Freeland.
I think they need to win this thing as fast as possible. You don't want to give Arizona any confidence coming back. And there it is. Because you can tell that the power game on the Arizona side, if they can get that traction, get it going, they could have the edge over Bakersfield. But it has played into Bakersfield's hands so far. They've really controlled the tempo.
They've chosen Flemion exclusively on their serves. Here she comes with a chance to claim the first set. Pantovic once and twice, and she keeps Arizona alive.
Great block, great balance, really solid control by Pantovic. Goes up, controls it with one hand, and then she gets back to the net and pokes that to the corner with her right. So real dominant play at the net.
Roadrunners desperately needing a side out will give Arizona a chance to retake the lead. Perfectly done by Sarah Pantovic, 21-20.
Smart shot. Pantovic not only has power at the net, she's got that finesse, seeing the open court on that one, and very smart putting it where they're not.
After fending off a couple of set points, now they get one of their own. Block drops off. Pantovic will get the chance. And she terminates to claim set number 1 for Arizona.
That's got to be tough for Bakersfield. I believe that they really had the control there and could not close it up.
So these Sandcats take set number 1 on courts 1 and 2 here in our first flight of beach volleyball in Tucson.
It's a party at the plate on Pac-12 Networks, where champions play.
Smart folks here in Tucson spending a Friday afternoon in the sun with Arizona Beach Volleyball. The Wildcats 5-1 on the season, and after a break for their spring break, they're back on the sand. They've taken both opening sets over the Roadrunners of CSU Bakersfield. Haley Devlin and Mackenzie Gillespie's over on court number 2, the 5 pairing. Won 21-14 in the opener, and they've already got a 13-5 lead, looking for a straight sets victory to give Arizona their first point in this duel. Meanwhile, Pantovic and Mason rallied from down 3 early, down a couple of times. In fact, they faced a set point against them, still came away Dane with a 22-20 win in the opening set on court number 1.
so important that Arizona came back for their confidence. You know, like you said, they faced set point, were able to really believe and focus in on the simple things, getting that pass in the right position and doing what they do best. There's a great set, it looked like. A tall player like Pantovic really has to crush that ball. But like we said earlier, both freshmen still learning the game, still learning when to turn it up, and also learning when to break out that finesse shot. That one a little short into the net.
Several service miscues. We mentioned the windy conditions, I think factoring heavily into that first set. Hopefully both sides have it figured out now. Have you decided if there's a favorable, a preferable court, or is it fairly even right now?
Well, I think it's fairly even on the side. You know, that's why we switch on increments of 7 points when you play to 21, is so that no one gets an unfair advantage due to the wind or the sun. But I would say the wind right now is kind of a side wind, so it makes it equal on both sides. A lot of times you'll have a wind right directly in a team's face. That would be the good side, and if you have the wind directly at your back, that would be the bad side. But that's not the case here at Bear Beach.
Mesa did very well to handle that sinking serve, put a good pass to Sarah Pantovic, and side out Arizona. Here comes Mason again. A bit tight to the net, and the Roadrunners get the point.
Now that was a big opportunity for Mason. What Arizona is doing right now is anytime the ball is set off the net by Bakersfield, which I like to see them do, but what Arizona is doing is they're dropping off, and the shots for Bakersfield are kind of sky high, giving Arizona plenty of time to defend them and pass them up. Now it's up to Arizona to really convert on those opportunities.
Pantovic converting the kill here. Tied up again, this time at 3.
Yeah, when she gets that timing down, she is a force to be reckoned with at the net.
They've chosen Flemion exclusively, and now Mason, who had the service, also drills the deep middle kill.
Yeah, I really love that hit. She read the defense, put it away cross court.
So the Cats in front on court number 1. Let's go check in on set number 2. On court 2, the 5 pairing of Haley Devlin and Mackenzie Gillespie, a senior transfer, have a chance to close it out, leading by 10.
Gillespie and Devlin really looking good. The chemistry's there, playing solid, completely dominating in every aspect. Although right there, nice float serve, completely dies right in front of Haley Devlin. She's got to step up there, get that ball in the air. Really solid serve right there by Bakersfield's Katie Dunbar.
Gillespie sets, and Haley Devlin terminates. Side out Arizona. Now Devlin played 5s for Arizona all last year, has really improved in a lot of areas, including her serve and her block. An unfortunately timed miscue there from the service line. Born in Tacoma, Washington, raised in San Diego, Haley Devlin went to Scripps Ranch High School. Now a sophomore at the University of Arizona. New teammate in Gillespie's, the daughter of Chris Gillespie and Melissa Missy McClendon, 2 University of Arizona student athletes. Over on 2 from the Roadrunners. Gillespie gets another chance at it. How about a third try? And finally hits the sand. I mentioned her mother, Missy, Arizona's first team All-American in 1985. Great indoor player. Her father, Chris, ran track at Arizona.
That ball really wide there. Gillespie's really hovering in the backcourt, reading the ball well, putting that ball up offensively, and that's been a huge difference. Just her kind of roaming that backcourt and reading so well, not guessing, but reading where that goes and then moving. A lot of players at this level sometimes will guess where the location is. And as soon as you guess one direction and the ball goes the other direction, you're hung out to dry. So you have to hold and you have to read, but that's what the discipline that it takes.
Devlin serves, then runs up to block, but a good roll off the tape for Dunbar Low. Arizona still needs 2 more points here on court number 2 to wrap up a straight sets victory in this first flight.
There's 2 right here, ladies. Settle. It is hard.
Wildcats also have an 8-6 lead over on court number 1, the 4 pairing. We'll go back there after we conclude here in pair 5. Well blocked. And Katie Dunbar Low also gets the kill to keep the Roadrunners alive.
That all started with its serve by Shoney. Really putting a good flat float serve. There's a lot of movement on it. It's giving Arizona a little bit of problems, but right there, passed perfectly by Devlin. That float serve is really what a lot of the women's indoor and the women's beach players love to use. If you hit it flat, it's like that changeup in baseball where there's so much movement on the ball and it's very difficult to track as a receiver.
Gusty wind conditions today at Arizona only helping matters if you're a float server. Get that knuckling action. Dunbar Low and Shoney staying alive here on court number 2. They get a free ball. Chance for the Sandcats to finish. And they do. 21-14 and 21-12. The number 5 duo for Arizona gets the first point of the duel.
Yeah, and they did that with a commanding control. They just really dictated the tempo early, and Gillespie's in the backcourt. There was just nowhere to go. Bakersfield couldn't get that ball to the ground. She got up just about everything.
See the updated duel score. Number 7 Arizona gets the first point in this best of 5 series against the Roadrunners. So back to court 1 to complete flight number 1. Tandem of Pantovic and Mason leading 11-7. Pantovic deep on that serve.
On court number 2.
The difference here has been that Arizona has been able to put the ball away, really terminate rallies, whereas Bakersfield has been able to place the ball, but if they're not placing it where Arizona's not, Arizona's all over there. A nice finesse shot by Pantovic. We've seen that power, we've seen that finesse. She continues to gain momentum as this match continues.
She really elevates so easily and gracefully, doesn't she? Not just once, but even on back-to-back leaps, she seems to rise above the net very simply.
And to think that she is just a freshman, she has so much room to improve. She's only going to get better over the next 4 years.
And if her teammate Mason also commits full-time to the beach game, you wonder if this might be a rising pairing, the freshman tandem for Arizona. At the break, 13-8, set number 2. Pantovic and Mason looking to claim both points of the opening flight of the duel against Bakersfield.
Be a king.
Awesome. Sports Report every Monday night on Pac-12 Network.
Tandem number 5 for Arizona, Haley Devlin and Mackenzie Gillespie's improved to 6-1 with a 2-set victory over CSU Bakersfield. They get the first team point of the duel. And back on court number 1, the 4 team for Arizona looking to follow suit. Mia Mason back to serve in the second set. Her side leads 13-8.
Oh, another point for Arizona as that one just trickles over the net. Not a lot you can do when that ball trickles over the net. That rule was changed way back in the year 2000. It used to be if the ball hit the net, it was a dead ball. The other team got opportunity to serve. But now that let serve, if it continues inbounds, it is 100% live. And I know a lot of people have practiced and tried to train for it, but I don't know that you can do it on purpose consistently. I sure haven't met anybody.
What's your feeling on the rule change as a whole and what it's meant to beach volleyball?
Well, I think it's nice in terms of keeping the flow of volleyball going because you don't get as many stoppages of play, but I would hate to see a major championship won on a trickler over the net, but it has happened, and you just hope it doesn't happen. You know, maybe they could freeze that rule at match point.
I like that. Would you give it as a side out, or would you give the service back to the team that had the let?
No. Anything that touched the net at that point would go to the other team.
Just without a point?
Yeah, like a violation.
That's a good suggestion.
It's just an idea. But I think it works fine. You know what I'm talking? We're talking about an instance that might happen 1 out of 100 times, or maybe a little more. But the fact that the play is not stopped as often, I think it's been beneficial for volleyball to have that let rule and keep that ball live.
Perfect deep middle serve. She splits Pantovic and Mason.
Yeah, Pantovic and Mason look at each other. They both say, "You got it. I'll take it," and they both shift away. That is the perfect spot. Fleming really putting that ball exactly where she needs to cause that confusion.
Mason keeps it alive. Good bump set, and she gets a swing, just missed wide.
Smart play by Bakersfield. What I'd like to see them do is to bring their shots down a little bit. Their shots are going up a little too high, and Arizona is having plenty of time to run them down. If they could bring the shots down just a little bit, I think it would really impact their game.
I wonder if Pantovic isn't the root cause of that. I think she put in the back of both Roadrunners' minds early that she was going to be a dominant force at the net, and they've kind of calibrated high, haven't they?
Yeah, and it can be intimidating when you have a 6-foot blocker who's jumping well in your face. She's blocked a few balls. All of a sudden, you start shooting the ball so high that the defender in the backcourt has a lot more time to run the ball down.
At the change, 15-13, Pantovic and Mason looking to close out this second set. They're 5-1 as a tandem, looking for their 6th victory of the season. And that serve sails deep.
Yeah, when you're 5'7" and 5'8", as we're seeing on the court for Bakersfield, you know, you really have to bring that ball control up and control that situation.
Mia Mason the serve. About 6 inches deep.
I'm sorry. Freeland is 5'11".
A junior from Evanston, Wyoming.
5'11" and 5'7" for Fleming.
A couple of upper-class women for CSU Bakersfield. Again, all of these Roadrunners are indoor volleyball players that spend their spring on the sand. Tell you what, Fleming has been feisty. They continue to serve her, and she's lived up to the test.
Wow, that's the best hit I have seen this afternoon. Fleming goes back around. The block drops off the net, which is a mistake, and she bounces that over the tents on the end line. So getting up, a very feisty hit right there.
Poke shot from Pantovic finds the back corner. Arizona tandem here on court number 1, closing in on a 2-set win.
Smart set by Mason. Almost having to fish that ball out of the net for that set, but putting it right on point for Pantovic.
A difficult serve to handle. Long run for Flemion. And Bakersfield just can't get it back.
And that all started with a tough float serve by Mia Mason in the backcourt with this swirling wind, very hard to track, and now they're on a roll.
Ball on the court from Over on court number 1. Arizona looking for the final 2 points. Flemion doing her best to adjust, but she carried it on the stuff block from Pantovic, who has dominated this court. What a recruit, a freshman by way of Canada. Wanted to stay home, play indoor in Vancouver locally, but Coach Walker convinced her to roll the dice and take a chance on an emerging Pac-12 program here in Tucson.
Steve Walker, known to take some chances with the Witt twins, bringing them. They were indoor players, bringing them and really taking their beach game to a whole nother level. Now they are one of the best teams in the nation, and look at this rally.
Scramble of the second set. Mason gets a chance. Bakersfield keeps it alive. They go over on 2. Now it's Pantovic. And a joust goes to Bakersfield.
Long rally back and forth. All players really laying it out, groveling all over the sand to keep that ball in play. And Bakersfield now with their backs up against the wall.
Arizona looking for a side out on match point number 2. Perfectly done. Sarah Pantovic hits the back line. 22-20, 21-16. The Wildcats get both points on the first flight of this duel. Timeout in Tucson. We're back to set up the second flight. Pairs 1, 2, and 3 upcoming as our Pac-12 beach volleyball coverage continues.
You're watching Pac-12 Arizona.
Easter weekend here in Tucson, and before he gets a basket from the Easter Bunny, some Pac-12 beach volleyball. 2-0, number 7 Arizona leads CSU Bakersfield, sweeping that first flight. Up next in our second flight, the top tandem of McKenna and Madison Witt. They are 6-0 on the season. In fact, they have not dropped a set, and before they took the sand, they stopped by our broadcast position. Well, you've seen them patrolling court 1 for Arizona beach volleyball with Dane Blanton, JB Long. The Witt twins are with us. First question, very basic. Who's who?
Great question. I'm Madison. And I'm McKenna.
Good. Now that we got that out of the way, the second most popular question you probably get, who's older?
Well, I am 3 whole minutes older than Madison. Always have been, always will be. Thanks for the reminder, McKenna.
Dane, you can turn it over now to the volleyball portion of the interview.
Well, it's such an interesting story. You guys played indoor in high school and never really had played beach, but yet you got recruited. What was that decision, and how's it turned out so far?
You know, we didn't get the chance to play beach volleyball that much in Phoenix. It was kind of just low impact, playing a tournament over the summer when you're in your off season. And we got recruited our senior year in the spring after we just decommitted from another school. And Steve just presented us with an awesome opportunity, and we love going to the beach. We love playing on the beach when we're there. So we just said, hey, let's give it a shot. And ever since then, it's been awesome.
So definitely no regrets.
0 regrets.
Going to the beach. And now you're the face of this program, and you're really creating a solid tradition. How pleased are you with this record that you have so far this year? You guys are on fire.
Yeah, this game has honestly changed our life, and Steve giving us this opportunity to play beach for the first time has been absolutely amazing, especially being the first recruits at the school. Well, maybe not the first recruits, but the first actual players coming to the school. It's been really cool to see this program be built from the ground up, and we love the community it's brought us and all the new friends and supporters that it's brought to the school and to us. So we're just absolutely blessed to be here.
We're happy to be here as well. Chance to look at your home digs, and boy, are they impressive. 4 courts side by side, and there's a whole lot more room in which to build this program out. What can you say about the University of Arizona and the commitment that they've made to beach volleyball?
With me personally, I have a great relationship with our AD. as he has a great relationship with, almost all of our student athletes here, and he continues to give us, everything that we could possibly need here to be successful and to be, a program that can really compete and be at the top and at the level that, all of the most elite programs are playing at.
Madison?
Yeah, Arizona has always been all in for this program since the beginning. We've been treated like any other sport here, and maybe even more so with the promotions going on for our sport, just trying to grow the game and recruit better players and just build a program.
Speaking of the growth of the game, it's now a Pac-12 sponsored sport. It's now an NCAA championship. How do you feel about collegiate beach volleyball and the steps that are being made across the country?
Well, I'll just say, since our freshman year, the game has changed completely. Every year, every season, you never know who's going to step on the other side of the court, because the teams and the level of play has elevated so much since our freshman year and is going to continue to do so. And with it being an NCAA sponsored now, it's awesome. We're going to have so many more opportunities, and I hope that they will incorporate a pairs tournament again sometime soon.
We've had this rare position that many people never get the opportunity to observe, where we've gotten to see, a completely new sport come into NCAA, and we're excited for the future and come back and say, we saw this sport emerge just from the beginning. We watched it, it's not even a sanctioned NCAA sponsored event, and now here we are interviewing with you guys. We have an official championship this year. That's something to be really excited about.
Thank you for including the Pac-12 Network interview and one of those big milestones for college beach volleyball.
It is.
We're really glad to meet you and to spend some time with you. We'll let you get back to your remaining matches. We'll see you again in a couple of weeks for a showdown with Arizona State.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, the top pairing of McKenna and Madison Witt on court number 1. Here on Bear Down Beach in Tucson, leading 2-0 in the team duel against CSU Bakersfield.
Would Mike say my secret talent is
on Pac-12 Network, where champions play.
In this best-of-5 duel, number 7 Arizona takes both matches of the first flight against the Roadrunners of CSU Bakersfield. And take a look at the match summary so far. 2-set victories on pairs 4 and 5, and then the top 3 pairs getting set to go, including the Witt twins, who we just spoke with. And in this Olympic year, it's great to be here in Tucson with Dane Blanton, an Olympic gold medalist. Your impressions of the action we've seen so far?
Oh, it's been awesome so far. Unfortunately for Bakersfield, they're in a hole now, down 2 matches with the number 1 Witt twins to be playing, and I'm excited to watch them play. They're 6-0 on the season. They get better each and every match, so I'm fired up to see them in that 1 position.
All right, here at Bear Down Beach, they've just taken the sand along with the 2 and 3 pairings. Dane, this is where we're really going to let you get your remote work done. You can pick a court, and we will go there on your command.
Oh, really?
What do you think? Start on court 1?
Start on court 1 for sure.
We built it up. McKenna and Madison, the juniors from Glendale, Arizona, 6-0. They're perfect in terms of set wins as well, and they face Sydney Haynes and Carol Grasso, pair of juniors who just beat Arizona State, so they're coming off a Pac-12 victory.
It's going to be a tall order for Bakersfield to take down the Witt sisters, because the Witt sisters playing so well. They played last year and did extremely well in the pairs championship. Which they mentioned in the interview, the pairs championship does not exist this year. The NCAA agreed on 1 championship, so it's going to be a team competition. But they have really shown what they can do. Foot fault called right there on Sydney Haynes. No part of your foot can hit that back line when you're serving, or it's an infraction immediately.
A tough pass, tight to net, but a great result for CSU Bakersfield. Sydney Haynes, a 6'1 junior from Vancouver, Washington, playing with Carol Grasso, who you see there, a junior from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Both her parents played for the Brazilian national team. Don't need to tell Dane Blanton what an honor that is to play for one of the top countries in beach volleyball.
Yeah, it's really exciting, and Brazil always such a strong team. It's really going to be something special. Rio 2016, the Summer Olympics on Copacabana Beach. It's a hostile environment, though, for everybody else. The Brazilians will definitely have an advantage.
All right, so 23 is Madison, 21 is McKenna. We'll do our best to remind you of the twins. In fact, they used to wear an anklets early in their career so that their head coach could tell them apart. Apparently, Steve has it down now.
I wonder if they mess with him, switch numbers. I mean, if they switch numbers on us, we don't have a chance, right?
4-3 at the first switch.
That'd be pretty funny if one of them was struggling hitting and they said, hey, let's just switch numbers so you can pump up my stats.
And if their numbers are not available, you can also determine by the role they play. McKenna's the full-time defender, Madison the primary blocker.
What's great about those twins is there's such chemistry, you know. There's that cohesiveness. You could tell in the interview that they just play off of one another so well, and that translates to a volleyball court. Anticipating where your partner's going to be is so important, and that's what the sign of a really solid team is. I hope they play together for a long time. Hopefully they get out on the AVP professional tour after their college days and do that thing. A very good shot right down the line by Madison. They're so athletic. That's what makes them so good. They come in, their technique is strong, double arm lift, and then the follow through on the line shot, making sure that ball ends up in bounds.
Grasso with a couple of fantastic kills early in this opening set.
Yeah, Grasso just 5'6", but she's got a nice jump, nice extension, goes to that deep corner. Great vision right there. They're gonna have to get a lot of that against the Witt sisters.
Boy, Madison again, straight to the sand.
Yeah, it's tough with the Witts. You just don't know who to go to because they're both very solid.
Well, on their serve, they're choosing Grasso so far. Now it's McKenna who gets a turn to terminates, and she brings the velocity.
So those last two plays, we really got a good look at how both players can get up in the air, put that ball away with a lot of power, a lot of velocity.
Grasso's got a lot in her game.
Yeah, she really does. She sees the court well. Really high volleyball IQ, knowing when that blocker's going to drop off the net to throw up that nice little finesse shot. She's going to have her work cut out for her because obviously Arizona is going to target her. And that's what happens in beach volleyball. With two players on the court, usually your opponent is going to try to go one direction to see if they can get an advantage.
A service miscue there by Carroll. Really enjoyed speaking with Olivia Simcoe, who's in her third season, brings just 3 returners back to her Roadrunners program. They play in the Big West now. They're the 2014 WAC champions, last year runners-up in the WAC. That Big West Conference Championship is going to be held at Long Beach State, Huntington Beach at the end of their season. Wicked cross-court kill. Sydney Haynes hails from Pac-12 country, Vancouver, Washington.
This is probably the reason that Arizona is not going to Haynes right there, because of that power that she has. At 6'1", she jumps well, and she sees the court. So you might not want to deal with that kind of height early on if you can help it.
Another foot fault, it appears. Second on the Roadrunners in this opening set. All right. 3 courts of action going on. Court 2, Arizona has a slight lead. Bonomi and Scholes. And how about court 3? Roadrunners have a 3-point advantage. So we'll get to those courts as their sits become imminent. Here on court number 1, the Witt Twins lead 11-8.
Bakersfield really hanging in there. If they would eliminate a couple of those foot faults, keep the ball in, this one might be a little bit closer. They're forcing the Witt sisters to do some things that they're not accustomed to doing. You just saw a roll shot right there. Didn't even clear the net by Madison. You bet that she would like to get that one back.
Now McKenna gets a turn, goes down the line, picked up by Grasso. And the Brazilian earns the kill for CSU Bakersfield.
Well, in Brazilian tradition, Grasso is an amazing defender in the backcourt.
Timeout on court number 1. It's a 1-point opening set.
Monday on Pac-12 Sports Report presented by Adidas. Women
Right here.
A stand-level view at court number 1 here on Bear Down Beach, where the Wildcats have a 2-0 lead over the Roadrunners in this opening duel. First with a doubleheader, they'll also see New Mexico on the Pac-12 Network today with Dane Blanton, J.B. Long. The Witt Twins are on court number 1. And down the line, Madison picks up another point. A 2-point lead for Arizona.
Yeah, the Witt Twins play such a conventional game. Their technique is strong. The way they approach their big double arm lift every time they come in, hard to see if they're going to hit or shoot, and that's what makes them so difficult.
They continue to serve Grasso, who's had a couple of impressive kills. They could not handle that set, and they fall behind 13-10.
And what I like about Grasso's game is her defensive, real canny ability to read where the ball is going to be, anticipate, and then react afterwards. That one she tries to get a little too precise on the line shot and misses by just a few inches.
Block falls off. McKenna Witt has the dig, and she'll get the swing. A good sprawling effort there from Grasso, but another point to Arizona. Again, the Witt Twins not just perfect at 6-0 on their season, including a win over UCLA. They have not dropped a set.
Yeah, that's really impressive so far coming out, and it's because they have that confidence after having such a great year last year as pairs. This year they've come out with all sorts of confidence, playing at another level, did a lot of work in the offseason, working on their game, and you can see the improvements.
Sydney Haynes to serve. She's described as one of the most improved players on the CSU Bakersfield roster. Dig for Grasso. Here come the Wildcats. Deep middle, McKenna Witt terminates.
Tough decision right there by Sydney Haynes at the net at 6'1". The set looked pretty good, and then she decided to get off. Here it is. She's at the net, makes the call, starts to peel before seeing the set. That's what a blocker has to do. They have to wait and make a decision. You can't just retreat because that set might be too tight, and it will cost you.
Madison up with the block, not once, but twice. Here she is again.
Oh, wow. Great cover by Grasso, and then Haynes into the net. So what a play at the net as a blocker right there. Madison Witt reaching for the shot, going up again, blocking it, keeping that ball alive. And how about that? Madison Witt at 6 feet, the junior just hovering and controlling the net.
Standing float serve, here it comes. Looking to expand a 6-point lead in the opening set. Falls off of the block, and it goes over. And now a scramble for the Roadrunners. Big time free ball for Arizona. And on 2, she takes it and gets the points.
A smart shot, but Grasso is everywhere on the court. She is not afraid to get dirty in that sand. Lays it out. Great touch at the block by Haynes. And Grosso was all over the court there trying to keep that ball alive. I love that type of effort.
Unreturnable service from Madison Witt. Witt twins are closing in on a set 1 victory.
Madison put that ball right in the middle, made Bakersfield make a decision, then they end up shanking that ball.
Big time kill by McKenna Witt as she brings the Wildcats within 1.
Big hit right there. A lot of momentum when you hit that ball like that. Putting it down with authority.
Grosso looking to keep the Roadrunners alive. McKenna digs it, but could not flip it over. They'll have to go for it on the side out and set point number 2.
Arizona's really controlled this match from the get-go. Their game plan of going to Grosso has continued to work. They've scored a few points here and there, but their serving has put a lot of pressure on Bakersfield.
Pretty clean opening set for McKenna and Madison Witt. 21-12. They stay perfect on their junior season. We'll be back with them as their action continues on court number 1. I'm told we're going to check in on court number 3 for the first time, though. That means a look in on Olivia McDonald and Sam Manley. We'll get to them in a moment. But as they're in a change, how about the number 2 tandem? This is the transfer team for Arizona. Gianna Bonomi and Kat Scholes.
Dale, línea, abrió. Highlight. Yes!
A left-handed kill for Kat Scholes. She's from the University of Pacific, now a senior, originally a Phoenix native. And Bonomi, her teammate, is also a senior by way of San Diego. Editza Urisis and Jocelyn Rodriguez, the Bakersfield tandem. And with their score 19-12, now we'll get to court number 3 and that McDonald-Manley pairing we forecasted. A miss hit there by Kayla Tinker. She's a freshman. Her teammate, Kelsey Sawyer, is a senior from Temecula. Tinker from San Clemente, California, so she has played beach volleyball before, just not within the formal constructs of a program.
And Arizona on court 3 is putting all sorts of pressure, serving from the back line. You saw that last errant pass. You have to pass that ball in a position where you can get that set, or you're going to be in trouble trying to run your offense the whole time.
Expect a jump float serve from Sam Manley, a freshman from San Diego, more often than not. A well-placed roll shot from Kayla Tinker there.
And Kayla Tinker, that ball was set a little bit wide. She was able to get behind it, put nice control, nice contact on the ball, and allow that to die just short in front of the defense.
So Arizona number 3, McDonald and Manley looking for a side out to claim the opening set. And McDonald missing deep with that kill attempt. 2015 now. Manley, one of Arizona's first beach volleyball commits. They really liked her high-end potential. And this pairing hit it off during their fall season. There's an ace serve for the Roadrunners to keep set number 1 alive.
Kelsey Sawyer with a nice float serve, kind of mesmerizing Arizona. They allow that to be let drop to the ground, and that's what the swirling wind will do. You'll think a ball is going out of bounds, and then all of a sudden it'll stop. Sometimes you think a ball is in, and then it ends up out. You have to really keep an eye on the swirling wind.
McDonald and Manley follow the Witt twins' lead. They wrap up set number 1 by McKenna. And the Wildcats have a 2-0 lead in the duel against the Roadrunners.
On it, the bed that moves you, only at a Sleep Number store.
The Arizona Wildcats took both matches in the opening flight. They have a 2-0 lead. Their next match victory will clinch the duel. Dane Blanton, my friend, you're at the controls. You name the court and we will go there.
Well, let's go back to court number 1 with the Witt sisters, who have won the first set and are starting off strong here in set number 2.
A missed serve there, 5-3 the score. Dane, this is your first visit to Tucson and Bear Down Beach, as it's known here at the University of Arizona. What can you say about the facilities and the program in year 3 for Arizona?
Well, it's just awesome. You know, I've been to a lot of facilities. Of course, coaching over at USC, who has a great facility. But here in Arizona, what they have is a lot of space to work with. So you have 4 courts, a lot of space in between the courts, and a nice area for the players. An amazing rally going on right now. Grosso with the set trying to use Madison out of bounds, but she gets blocked. But take a look at this venue. There's plenty of room for the teams under the awning on the far side of the screen there, and then the space between the courts. That's very important because balls that will go off the court, players running them down, you don't want them running onto the other court. So a lot of thought was put into putting this facility here, and they're thinking of expanding and putting a possible feature stadium court in the years to come. So to think that this program is in just its 3rd year, it was fully funded from the beginning, and Steve Walker told me that Greg Burns, the director of athletics, is totally behind this program. As you heard the Witt sisters say when we spoke to them, that he's got a great relationship with every student athlete here.
Junior twins leading this second set 6-5 now against the tandem of Sydney Haynes and Carol Grosso. You know, that featured stadium court that you mentioned, they're going to do that with an eye towards holding the Pac-12 championships, maybe even the NCAA championships here someday.
Yeah, I think it's a really smart move because the facility here is great, only getting better, and you know, what a dream. I see some of these players out here, and you know, I get a little jealous. I wish I could have played beach volleyball in college. I played indoor at Pepperdine, but to be outside at a facility like some of these, and you know, I saw Stanford's facility on a video. Beautiful facility. South Carolina has a great facility. I haven't been to UCLA yet, but all these schools are building these really great facilities, and it's exciting for the athletes and for the schools.
McKenna Witt went for the line there and missed wide. An indoor national champion. You mentioned your college roots, and now there's an NCAA championship for the beach courts as well, which I think is just fantastic. I also like the fact that the Witts were vocal about their desire to make sure that the pairs championship comes back in the not too distant future.
Yeah, and why I think that's very important, because a lot of emerging programs are coming up and starting, and they're not fully funded, and it's difficult to field 5 really strong teams, but you might have 1 or 2 really good teams, and I think it's a disservice to penalize them because you can't field 10 good players right out of the gate. I would like to see both championships, but you know what? You got to start somewhere. And for this to be an NC2A sport, it's huge, and everybody's trying to chase the dream and the history of becoming the first NC2A beach volleyball national champion.
Haynes tried to go over on 2 there and missed, so 9-6 the score here against the 1 pairing. A back corner kill for Carol Grosso, and really McKenna and Madison are the perfect example of what you're talking about. Able to compete last year at the AVCA championships. Good showing in pool play individually there.
Yeah, they were included in that pairs championship, not as how their team did, but it was called the best of the rest. So if you were in the top 8, you got 2 pairs teams into the pairs championship, and then there was the best of the rest.
They're going back to Gulf Shores, Alabama, which I know you're happy about, to see that venue rewarded for this transition to the NCAA sponsored events.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk of bringing it out to the West Coast. Where should the first NC2A championship be? And I thought it was important that you reward the place that has been hosting the AVCA championship for all these years. So for it to be in Gulf Shores, I think they deserved it. They put on a great show. I was impressed when I was there last year with USC, and it's just a beautiful venue and a great place to play.
Yeah, selfishly, we want the pairs championship championship because the Pac-12 will often win it. Doesn't USC have the last 3 pairs titles with Hughes and Clays most recently in 2015?
Yeah, they absolutely do. Kirby Burnham and Sarah Hughes won the year before, and then Stevie Robinson won the year before that. So you're absolutely right. There's been some really great pairs coming out of USC. And most people, without a doubt, I coach over at USC, so I might be a little biased, but Sarah Hughes and Kelly Clays playing extremely well. Theirs is a look. Pepperdine back in 2012, but JB, you're absolutely right. 2013, Burnham and Robinson, and then Burnham and Hughes. Now Hughes and Clays, and remember, Hughes and Clays are only juniors, so they'll be around another year.
Just like the Witt twins. Boy, are we looking forward to seeing USC and Arizona on the sand later this season, and again, the Pac-12 championships.
Yeah, it's really cool to see all these teams start to improve and start to get better. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, thanks for rolling with us for some high-level beach volleyball talk. We'll be back on court number 1 to wrap up set number 2 after this.
Be a king in your mind, but do the work.
You're watching Pac-12 Arizona.
Arizona leads CSU Bakersfield, and their next match win will clinch the duel as we look at all 3 matches underway, courts 1, 2, and 3, with the top pairings on the sand. Arizona has taken the first set in all 3, and they also lead the second on all 3 courts. So back to court number 1, our featured matchup, McKenna Witt, Madison Witt against Sydney Haynes and Carol Grosso.
Grosso that time receiving a very close set to the net, and the Witt sisters taking full advantage of it right there. Anything on the net they have really controlled from the beginning, from the first whistle.
Haynes didn't catch all of it. Here comes Madison. Over the top of the block into a back corner where Carol Grosso gave it her best. You're right, she's been swallowing sand throughout this 2-set matchup on court number 1.
Yeah, I really love her effort, and that's something that you can teach individuals, but you have to make that full commitment. You don't see it very often. She goes for every single ball. She anticipates really well, and it's really fun to watch. But on the other side of the net, the Witt sisters, their maturity level has come up so much from last year. Their decision making, especially at the net, Madison, knowing when to drop, when to stay, that has really been where I've seen the improvements on those small little things that make a huge difference.
I mentioned this a couple of times. They have not dropped a set all season. The closest they came was a couple of weeks ago at UCLA, as there's a deep middle kill for Carol Grosso. They were taken to 26-24 by the Bruins in an opening set of that duel, but still perfect in terms of their set score record on this 2016 campaign.
Yeah, and things will get a little tougher, of course, in April for Arizona, as they will be facing Long Beach. They'll have to run into number 1 Pepperdine. So there'll be some big challenges, some big tests ahead, as a huge stuff block at the net by Sydney Haynes. Not being tricked there. Madison trying to overpower the block and go straight through it, gets denied.
A hand set for Madison Witt, and she puts it away.
A little extra effort on that one. She wasn't too happy about getting stuffed that last play, and she just put that one away. Cross court, really going right at Sydney Haynes.
A block falls off, and the kill attempt is deep. So 17-16 on the change here. McKenna and Madison Witt leading Haynes and Grosso for CSU Bakersfield.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there. That drop off the net. Grosso wasn't sure if the blocker was still there or not. Ended up hitting the ball out of bounds.
Madison falling off, but McKenna could not keep it alive.
Great effort by McKenna trying to bring that back onto her side of the court. But I think the wind was pushing it, so she had that working against her.
Bonomi and Scholes over on court number 2, closing in on a 2-set victory. That could be the clincher as well in terms of the dual total. And on court number 3, McDonald and Manley took the opening set against Tinker and Sawyer 21-17, and they're doubling up the Roadrunners in set number 2.
Oh,
Rosso
beautiful.
with a sweet cut shot that caught the line.
That was just a nasty cut shot. Very difficult to defend. She has such a sharp cut shot that if you're dug in at all or on your heels expecting that cross-court hit, you just don't have time to react.
Madison Witt comes up short. What a sequence there for Haynes and Grosso. Excuse the repetition here, but in case folks are just joining us, these are all indoor players for the Roadrunners spending their spring on the sand. Compare that to Arizona, year 3 building their program, where they have really 9.5 full-time beach volleyball players.
Yeah, it's a big difference, and that has been a big difference with the different schools who is fully funded. You have a maximum in beach volleyball at the moment of 6 scholarships, 6 full scholarships, so you can kind of spread those around. And a lot of new programs are just using their indoor athletes for their beach program as they move closer to getting fully funded. So there can be an advantage there, and when you have an athlete or 10 athletes as opposed to 0 athletes playing year-round on the beach, that's going to give you a huge advantage.
19-15 here on court number 1. I'm also keeping an eye on court number 2, where the Sandcats are looking to clinch this duel. They're a point away, and a couple of times some errant volleyballs have found their way over from court number 2. So again, we stop play here with the 1 pairing. Aggressive line shot there by Madison Witt, just missed.
She got a net violation, though.
I mentioned it's match point over on court number 2. And on the service miscue, the Sandcats wrap it up. Gianna Bonomi, Kat Scholes, the transfer team. They get the clinching victory. Also improved to 5-1 as a tandem on the season.
Yeah, that was an impressive win, a decisive win, and that wraps up the duel for Arizona. It looked like it was going to be a little tighter after that first flight. During that first flight, we thought Bakersfield was going to take one of the matches, but they couldn't pull it off. So now Arizona is poised to possibly sweep Bakersfield.
A side out to the Roadrunners here on court number 1. Sydney Haynes back to serve. Madison Witt really brings it with emphasis atop the net. That's the clincher, tools the block. 21-12, 21-17. The Twins are still perfect.
They played such high level right there. Really controlled, really disciplined. Didn't do anything crazy. That's the thing. They are a disciplined team doing things so well.
And so to wrap up this flight and this duel, we join court number 3, Olivia McDonald and Sam Manley for the Sandcats, Kayla Tinker and Kelsey Sawyer for CSUB.
Manley trying to pull that ball out of the net, but it ends up off the court. Arizona's going to have an opportunity to receive serve right here, put the ball away to wrap things up.
McDonald's an international. She's from New Zealand, and she'll get the first attempt. Misses deep. She graduated high school, Dane, in December 2013, and the summer before, the summer of 13, she was at a beach showcase in Southern California wearing a UCLA t-shirt. So Coach Walker in Arizona thought she was a recent commit to the Bruins, but Steve still went over and spoke to her club coach, just for future reference and contacts. And he told her, no, that's actually not who you think it is. She's not the UCLA commit. She's available, and the rest is history.
Yeah, I love that story. And a little warning to some of these high school players. I don't know if you want to be representing certain schools or maybe
21-17, 21-13 on court number 3. It's a perfect sweep. 2-set victories on all 5 courts for the Arizona Sandcats. But that's only part 1 of our Pac-12 beach volleyball doubleheader from Tucson. The competition will get even stiffer with the New Mexico Lobos due up next. We'll take a quick break and come back to Bear Down Beach to set up the part 2 of our doubleheader. The Arizona Wildcats are back to their winning ways, now 6-1 on their season, and we look forward to seeing them again in a matter of minutes.